From fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, this is Pod Therapy. Real people, real problems, and real therapists. You can submit your questions anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. An Iowa man serving a life sentence for murder recently lost his Court of Appeals case. The man claims that because he died during a medical emergency, he has effectively served his life sentence.
I saw that.
Huh.
It's
Points
a good
for
argument.
creativity.
Yeah.
Stay in prison, but good job. And now, broadcasting from the churn, that guy is Dr. Jim Jobin. I'm Nick Tangeman. It's time for some Pod Therapy.
Yeah, I saw that the judge laughed it out of there. It was
Yeah,
no,
it was dismissed.
You're going back to jail.
I mean,
He died.
I don't know.
I served my life term.
There's a letter of the law argument there.
Yeah.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
Till
I'm
death
glad
do
he
us
tried.
till death do us part type thing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
died. I'm back.
There we go. I died.
I get a second one.
Yeah.
This is my second Mario.
Let me kill again.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like it. I think it should be out.
Yeah. If my heart stops for a very specific amount of time, that's a do-over.
Found the loophole.
I think that is a damn good loophole.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I don't know.
I think it is a really good argument.
Yeah.
When I first saw that, my first thought was, if we were a theocracy, I would totally use that argument of, well, I've been born again in Jesus Christ, so
Well, because the
this
other
is my
argument,
new life.
the other argument too, is that every 7 years,
Oh, every cell in your
every
body.
cell in your body has died and been replaced with a new cell.
Yeah, that's true.
I wonder about the
Yeah.
neurons, though. I wonder that neurons.
Neurons are the same. I think.
I've
I don't
always
think
been
it's. I don't think it's.
think
I don't
neurons are
think
permanent.
that's completely true. I think they're like brain
No.
cells and stuff.
I think there's some things
don't?
that don't go away because I think neurons don't regenerate.
Well, if that case, then my body should be free.
Yeah.
Separate my head from my body.
Yes.
Throw my body out.
Oh, I'm on that team. Cryogenically freeze me and let me come back in the future. If that was a technology that was offered, would either of you do it? Would you freeze yourself if they could do it completely safely? If they're like, listen, it's $10,000. You can freeze yourself. All of your assets remain. So you can take all of your money. You can liquidate everything you've got. You can put it in the stock market. You can freeze. And then you can pre-decide when you want to be thought out, either in time or by events. You could say, I want to be thought out whenever we've colonized the first planet extraterrestrially and tourism is allowed. Or whatever. But in theory, when you wake up, you will also be very wealthy because all of your money will have been in the stock market, which will generally go up. It will crash, but generally go up over and over and over again. Would you do it? Would you freeze yourself now and finish out your life in a future time?
No.
Why?
Sure.
I think Jacob, why would you not do it? Jacob's feels like the default answer.
Why would I not do that?
Yes.
Because there's no guarantee of anything in the future. I don't know what the future is going to be like. I'm here right now.
Oh, okay.
I want to live right now.
So you're a pessimist. That's
No,
what
I'm
this
not a
is.
pessimist. I'm just
Yeah, you're pretty sure we're all going to die.
No, not necessarily.
How do I know I don't
I'm
wake up?
positive we're all gonna die.
I think
got a
in
point.
general the future is going to be better.
Okay.
Things are going to continue to get better.
You wouldn't want to live in a time when there's like cool spaceships and
No, I want to enjoy time now. Like I want to see the Roman Colosseum while it's still there.
oh, okay.
You know, I want to see like stuff like that. There's a
Wow.
lot of things from our past.
So you're
that
saying
we
like
can
freeze you in a month?
see. Yeah, I mean, let me
like get me through December.
Yeah.
This is like I don't want to deal with that. Yeah, thaw me out in February.
Let's
Like,
see
that's
who
fine.
wins the election, and then I'll make my decision.
I want to be. Oh my god! People just freeze themselves to get through a term.
Yeah.
I can't do this. I can't.
Yeah.
Give me 4 years. If you could freeze yourself, Jacob, when would you want to be woken up in the future?
I don't know. Surprise me.
I feel like he's not very invested in this hypothetical.
I am not.
Just put them in a big cube of ice, and whenever it thaws, it
Yeah, when
thaws.
it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
When global warming wants it to happen, it will happen.
In all fairness, I am as invested in this as I am in most of your hypotheticals.
I would want to be able to jump on a spaceship and go see other worlds. I think that'd be really cool. Have you ever seen the movie Passenger?
Yeah,
That was a good
pretty
movie. And I thought the meta of that movie was like, you live your life, you know, like whether you're in this time or whether you're in the 1800s or whatever, you get one life, enjoy it, make the most of it. And that was kind of a beautiful movie because they have to live out their lives in a spaceship, but like, whatever,
Mhm.
they get to live their life.
Mhm.
I'm just thankful that they do.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, Nick.
It's good.
Speaking of living life and being
Speaking
beautiful,
of living life,
what are you going to teach us today?
well,
Oh, this is a bank episode, by the way.
Yeah.
Bank,
Hi.
bank, from the past,
yeah.
past. This episode was frozen.
We've been frozen. Just unthawed.
What do you think's going on in the
boy,
future?
are my arms cold.
In this future world that our episode has been unthawed in, I wonder what the headlines are. I wonder
what's it going to be like 2 weeks from now?
I don't know.
Crazy.
Sometime this next month.
Yeah.
Who
Boy,
knows?
2 weeks from now, I wouldn't even hazard to guess what the headlines are in 2
I know.
weeks.
Oh, I
know.
know.
Yeah.
Anything could be possible.
Yeah. I actually thought about doing that for my intro. I was just writing something like, "Oh my God, did you see the news? Can you believe he said that?" Because you know it's going to be.
That'll
Can you
be
believe
exactly
the corpse
what-
of John McCain has been made president.
They've animatronic
Crazy times we're living in, people.
RoboCop senator. I object. That is a great idea.
Yeah, why not?
Well,
So,
future be damned.
one of the things that we had talked about in Sober October, we kind of talked a little bit about, because you were doing your whole eating healthy thing.
yes, I was.
And we were talking about the effects of exercise.
Yes.
So this has been something that I've kind of gotten into recently in the past year, is reading up and doing a lot more research on the benefits of exercise on mental health.
Okay.
And so what I'm going to talk about today is actually a piece that I took from a talk that I did at the Nevada District Attorney's Conference.
Huh.
That I did a presentation, because we were talking about burnout.
Okay.
Burnout and managing stress, dealing with vicarious trauma. And so we're talking about all these different ways of staying healthy mentally. And so I brought this up as far as the benefits of exercise and how this is beneficial.
Okay.
Because the really interesting thing is that we've always associated the major benefit of exercise as being the effects it has on your cardiovascular system.
Yeah. Yeah. Your heart starts pumping, you breathe more, and you flush out. You feel good.
That's the whole reason why we've always done it.
Yeah.
However, in the last 15 years, as we've learned more about the brain, we're learning that the greatest effect of exercise is not on your cardiovascular system. It's not what it does for your heart. It's what it does for your brain.
Huh.
It's actually, it is way more beneficial on your brain than it is on your cardiovascular system.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I did not see that coming.
Yes, absolutely.
Really?
So here's a few things as far as stress. So if we just talk about stress, exercise works as a great buffer for stress. So one of the things that's, and this makes sense from like an evolutionary purpose, right? Because when we experience stress, think of cavemen experiencing stress. So that drove us to do something. Stress was always associated with movement.
Oh.
All right. So if I'm stressed because there's a lion coming after me, that's movement. I got to move. If I'm stressed because I'm hungry, I have to move to forage for food.
Interesting, because cavemen were not stressed about their taxes.
Exactly.
They were not sitting there like, how am I going to pay all this?
Exactly. Which is what is really different than with today's society.
If they were stressed, it required physical motion.
Yeah, we experience stress all the time that requires no physical exertion, right? And I always think about this too when we think about back in the day when I worked for as a clinical director for the kids program, the kids addiction program, and we talked about video game addiction.
Yes,
and this was one of the big concerns that I had then is this constant effect that video games have on your mental health and how your body reacts to something.
Simulates stress.
Because it simulates that, it's that stress response that gets simulated, but you're in a sedentary position.
You're not metabolizing
You
that
never
stress
move.
energy.
Right. So it just continues to build up.
Okay.
Right. So this actually, it works really well to deal with stress. So essentially what they found is that the big issue is with cortisol levels, right? So if you have a huge buildup of cortisol, that's bad, right? Cortisol can be beneficial in the short term to create action, but then once that action's done, cortisol levels have to drop.
Right.
Right. So by you exercising in the morning, if you exercise in the morning, you raise your cortisol levels and then they drop right away after the exercise. And studies have shown that they stay dropped throughout the rest of the day.
Interesting.
They don't get affected later on by stress in your day.
Just because you did that first initial exercise action, you sort of set that brain reboot in motion, and the cortisol levels do not rebuild.
Yeah, because what it does is it shuts down the stress response, causing a delay before cortisol levels can rise up again.
Wow.
So you do it, you start controlling it yourself, Right.
So this is why people talk about, oh yeah, I had a better day. Like I worked out this morning and I just feel good. Like,
Exactly.
And we're all thinking like, oh yeah, I feel good physically. But like, no, what you're saying is, no. The research is like 2 to 1 brain health is what's being affected. That's why you feel good.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's just the effect that it has on stress. It also has an effect on learning.
Huh.
Okay. So learning, this is really interesting. So a 2007 study showed that the students that did a high-intensity physical exercise beforehand could learn vocabulary words 20% faster than those in a sedentary control group.
Wow.
So why is that the case? And that's the case because what happens is when you exercise, it creates this thing that's called, there's increases in what's known as brain-derived neurotrophic factor.
Yeah.
BDNF.
Yeah.
Right?
It's my favorite club.
Yeah, BDNF.
Yeah. My favorite Saturday night club. Very nice.
I imagine whips, chains,
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Anyway, so basically what this is, BDNF
And really good vocab.
is, yeah.
Yeah. Trust me, when my heart rate's pumping at that club, I'm really good at vocab.
Right. So basically what this is like, it's like fertilizer for your brain.
Huh.
All right. So like we'd always believed that however many neurons you have when you're 25 is however many you're going to have for the rest of your life. Studies have shown that that's not true. If you are increasing brain-derived neurotrophic factor, you actually are creating new neurons. So it is possible to continue to create new neurons as you get older, which is incredibly interesting because we never actually knew that before.
So anyway, exercise is good for you.
Yeah. So here's the other interesting part to that too. It also helps improve mood, which we kind of already knew that, right? So it elevates dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine. It offers a protective component against depression. So there's a 2017 study examined the mental health and exercise habits of 34,000 Norwegians for more than a decade. And the results, those that didn't exercise had 44% greater chance of developing depression than those who exercised 1 to 2 hours per week. So the interesting thing there is that you don't even have to do it that often. 1 to 2 times per week
is enough.
Wow. Right.
That's really incredible. Because I would buy the daily thing, and I like the idea that you metabolize the cortisol and you metabolize certain biochemicals, which, okay, I didn't know. That's really interesting. But then you don't even have to do it all the time. Like, just doing it a little bit actually has a lasting difference in the mental health of people.
Yes, absolutely.
But those are also Norwegians, and are we even sure that they're human?
Right. I mean, they're way more beautiful than the average person.
Is that true? Norwegians?
Oh, yeah. Scandinavians? Yeah, that's what everybody says. Like,
is that what they all say? I didn't say that.
You hadn't looked over here lately.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's true.
Make them different in the bayou.
Yep. So anyway, I mean, those are some of the big takeaways. I'm also reading this book, Spark, which is really good. It's written by a psychiatrist, and it talks about the benefits of exercise and everything. And he's talking about like some schools that have initiated school-based physical health programs where they like do a workout in the morning every day before school.
Oh, wow.
And how it has impacted their test scores. And their test scores are way higher than other places. So, yeah. Very
it's funny because as you were talking about like that the vocabulary part and how it jumpstarts the brain, I was thinking, man, that's a really great idea. I'm thinking like I have a 9-year-old. I wonder if there's a way, like in the mornings, kind of get him on the cycle or something like that and just get him revved up. Because morning time is lethargic. You're just getting them their Cheerios, trying to get them out the door. They're barely awake in the car. But man, if you can, do that, it sounds like it's a tremendous change for your day.
I mean, that's what we did when I was the clinical director of that youth program. Every morning, we would go for a walk.
Oh, okay.
I did have an exercise program in the morning, but it just got to a point they were just refusing to do it.
Yeah, there's a mutiny.
Yeah.
The teenagers weren't going to do that.
They settled for a walk.
Yeah, the teenagers who were addicted to drugs did not want to
take
a jog with you.
Yeah, they didn't want to work out.
I will be damned.
But anyway.
Well, good data, man. Thanks for sharing it. So you shared that with the district attorney.
The district attorney's conference.
Okay.
So for prosecutors.
Oh, wow.
Because essentially one of the issues was prosecutors have to get like so many hours of like CEUs or whatever for substance abuse specific.
Cool.
Because the substance abuse rate is very high for attorneys.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Well, then they shouldn't be judging, should they?
Guess not.
Drop those prosecutions. How dare you? Yeah. All right. Well, since it's a bank episode, we're not doing any fun ads because we want to keep our TheraProducer lineage correct inside of our actual real episodes, which are not banks. So this first letter that we've got here is this is a pretty interesting one. I thought you'd like this, Nick, because you're a big fan of fashion. You talk about men's fashion in the past. You actually got me turned on to it. With
Apparently not.
Apparently not. Yeah, I'm flannel and jeans today. But you got me on this YouTube channel. It's like men's fashion advice. It's a really good YouTube channel, and like I still watch it. Like really good things come out of there. I just don't have occasion to dress up, but it's nice. So this letter says, let's see here. My girlfriend of about a year doesn't understand the importance of looking nice and dressing up for certain events. I love my girlfriend, but she just doesn't understand that sometimes you have to wear nice clothes. Every time we go anywhere, she puts on leggings, tennis shoes, and a t-shirt. I'm fine with that kind of outfit for casual occasions, but that's not something that you should wear to a nice dinner. Just for example, we recently went to my dad's birthday dinner, and we went to a really nice, fancy restaurant. I put on a suit and tie and dress shoes. What does she come out with? Leggings and a crop top. I eventually convinced her to at least not wear a crop top, but we still ended up late. I've asked her why, and she tells me that it's comfortable and that she doesn't care about that kind of thing. How can I get her to understand that people sometimes have to dress up and look nice? Thanks.
Okay.
It's a good one.
This is a really good one.
I like it in reverse, too, because I think that we would stereotypically be like, oh, the guy's not, putting in any effort and the girl takes the time. But no, in this one, it's like, no, he's the guy. He dressed up in a suit and tie for a restaurant and she wore like just leggings and a t-shirt.
Yeah. Yeah. That's something that I think this is a tough one because we have to respect her autonomy and her,
right.
That she wants to dress how she wants to dress, and that's great and everything.
Yeah,
and I guess ultimately it kind of comes back to the guy, which is that if this is who she is, then I think you have to evaluate whether or not you want to continue the relationship. Is this something that you feel like is going to be like, well, if I feel like we can't go out to nice places because she's not going to dress up.
Yeah.
And if it really bothers you that much.
If it bothers you that much, I mean, I think you're allowed to be bothered by it without being breakup bothered by it. Like, I mean,
well, but
what do
you do? What else do you do? You have to tell her, or you have to demand that she dress up.
I think the first thing is to acknowledge that this is allowed to be a real issue. Like, I feel like when it comes to the way people dress and the way they present themselves, right now we're at an important position in society where we're all tiptoeing around this kind of stuff and being like, whatever, do you, everybody do you. But in reality, we have such a thing as cultural norms. And I believe that attire is a form of communication. It is a form of expression, right? And so, like, you can be, contrarian and be like, well, I don't agree with your social norm of wearing nice things to a fancy restaurant. I'm going to wear a hefty bag with a hole cut in for my head. Okay, like, you can be contrarian about it, but, like, you have to respect that your choice to be contrarian and wear the hefty bag is designed to either, like, just be authentically you, but it's also designed to disregard the effect that has on everybody else. So if you have a mate and you're intentionally disregarding how your attire affects them in any number of ways, I want to talk about that, right? Like, as a couples kind of angle, I want to talk about that. Whether that's one person, I've seen this before where one member of a couple dressed in a way that is maybe too revealing, and the other member of the couple wants to talk about that because they don't appreciate the communication that might be paired with. Or in this case, I want you to dress nice because we're going to nice places. I'm taking you to places that, there's a certain attire expectation and a certain ambiance, and you're not living inside of that, and you're just disregarding it. And I'm taking that as disrespect, like to my father, to myself, to the environment, to the occasion. You're not participating with us in this joint understanding of what we're doing. And I'm good with that. Like, I'm comfortable with that communication. It's difficult because I guess when you're sitting down to talk to your girlfriend, you're like, listen, this bothers me. And she's like, okay, I don't care. Like, I like what I wear and I don't care what you think. It is difficult, right? And I think there's any number of areas of relationship where you can just have that non-starter problem. And then how do you get through a roadblock in communication whenever two people just don't agree?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I mean, in this situation, let's role play this.
Okay. Can I be the dude this time?
Yeah.
Yeah, finally.
Okay. So we're in a relationship, and you don't like the way that I dress because it's too sexy and too revealing.
Damn it, I knew you were going to still be flattering. There is no reality where you're not going to self-flatter. Go on.
Oh, I'm going to hear this from you? Okay. So in this situation, you're going to tell me, okay, that I can't dress this way.
Right.
And I'm going to say, well, I enjoy dressing this way.
Right.
You knew this when you started dating me.
Yes.
I haven't changed. I've been this way this whole time. So now that we're in a relationship, now you want me to change.
Right.
Okay. I get the point where you're saying, like, okay, we have to work things out because I want this relationship to continue. But in these circumstances, maybe you're okay with how I dress most of the time. But in certain situations, you want me to dress differently.
Yes.
But ultimately, I guess I'm still kind of in that spot where I'm like, well, but this is, so I have to change if I want to be in this relationship with you.
Gosh, yes, but only your clothes.
Okay.
Yes, you have to change, but only your clothes.
Right.
You have to change who you are.
My clothes are how I define myself.
And see, I guess that's an interesting perspective too, is like, are we allowed to give deep meaning to the clothing? But I think that has to cut both ways. Like, if your defense is going to be, this has deep existential meaning to me, and I will not be changed by you, you're just my boyfriend. Okay, what is the deep existential meaning of your attire? Comfort. Like, I just want to be comfortable. Okay, so like in any environment, even environments...
are you devaluing my existentialism?
I guess. Yeah, I think that, gosh, it is tricky.
How does that make you feel?
How does it? Life coach, this is where the jingle would be played. If we had the jingle, we'd be playing that right now.
Yeah.
I think so. I guess for me though, I want to validate the writer, right? I want to validate the guy who's saying, I'm frustrated that my girl doesn't dress for the occasion, just as I would be equally comfortable with validating it if it was a female writer. And she was like, listen, my guy is being he's being a slouch, and he's being sloppy, and he's, you know, just this typical jock guy, and he just wants to wear football jerseys everywhere and jeans. And I took him to a nice restaurant. It was my father's dinner, and it was an Italian restaurant, and I put on a beautiful dress, you know, for my father, and my idiot boyfriend showed up in a
Cam Newton
jersey. Cam Newton jersey, hypothetically. A Cam Newton jersey, flip-flops, and jeans. And when I tell him, you can't do that, that dishonors my father, that dishonors me, that disrespects the ambiance, he says, how dare you, this is how I feel. It's interesting, the gender bias, right? Because when you hear that predicament, you want to describe him as lazy, you want to describe him as not being thoughtful, and you want to challenge that guy to, you know, hear what his girlfriend is saying about the meaning of the situation, the meaning of her father, the meaning of the restaurant, the meaning of dressing nice, honoring others with your appearance. But when the shoe's on the other foot, we're like, well, let's protect the girl. You know, like, no, her attire. And I think that's the kid gloviness that society is asking us to do right now, because women are so judged on appearance that we're both, I think, really, really reluctant to judge her. Yeah. But I'm going to judge her. I'm going to come in here and go, no. If you bring that couple to my couch, I'm going to challenge her a little bit and be like, tell me why you're willing to hurt your boyfriend. Why are you willing to hurt his feelings and disrespect him? He's not faking his reaction. His reaction is authentically wounded. And are you comfortable with that? Does your attire mean more than his feelings right now? And I'm going to put her in that contradiction.
Okay.
Now, you're right, because I know what you're going to say.
Oh, do you?
You can't make him feel anything, Jim. He's responsible for his own emotions. That's true until we're talking about couples and appreciating ecosystems, because we do have an effect on our spouse or our mate. Of course we do. And we have to at least ask people to live in the tension of that.
Of course we do. And I think we have to acknowledge that tension, and we have to find some way of resolving that tension. But I think the other piece to this too is, it's hard to do that without devaluing what something means to somebody. So,
for example, you be so defensive if the dude was wearing a jersey?
Okay, well, let's look at this example. Let's say it was a religious group where women had to have long hair and had to wear dresses down to their ankles.
Okay.
And some woman doesn't like dresses down to her ankles. She likes them to their knees.
Okay.
To her knees. Okay. So now we're saying, no, you have to change this
To fit the group.
to fit with the group. I mean, there's a lot of components in with this.
So
And I think
whenever
it's,
we have a client, though, who is intentionally not living inside of social norms and then wondering why they're getting the results that they're getting in life, we're sometimes willing to sit down with them and be like, why are you not willing to wear a suit to work?
no,
You're
yes.
a lawyer. You're
Yes.
supposed to.
Okay, I get that within social norms.
Okay.
However,
Fancy
if
restaurant.
that, and this, but again, this goes back to my point earlier, is that if they don't want to fit within those social norms,
Yes.
that's fine. They don't have to, but then there's going to be the consequence of maybe you shouldn't be in that relationship.
okay.
That's my argument.
I would argue that another part of that consequence is his wrath. I would argue his discomfort and his annoyance at you and his feeling of disrespect and being hurt is also your consequence. You have to live with that discomfort that you're causing in another person. If every time I get in a car with all of my friends or associates, I let rip a huge fart and I'm like, I will not be subject to your social expectations.
Cheek squeak, please.
Yeah, cheek squeak. If I let rip and I'm like, I don't believe in the social expectation. This is normal human flatulence and I am an organic human being and I'm going to be me. And it's like, okay, well, we don't want to drive with you and we're angry at you. And I'm like, why are you guys angry at me? You're not entitled to that anger. You don't get to be angry at me. How dare you? You're disrespecting my autonomy.
No. That's not my argument.
No, I'm disrespecting their autonomy because they're organically, authentically angry at me.
Yes.
Yes.
And we're on the same page there.
Oh, okay.
We agree. I totally agree with that. I'm just saying from the guy's perspective,
Yes.
look, you've brought it up. You've addressed this with her.
How do you change her? Maybe you can't.
If she's not willing to change, then you have to make a decision. Is this important enough to you where you think maybe there's somebody else out there that fits kind of with my ideals a little bit better?
Right.
Maybe there's a better relationship out there. Or you come to peace with the fact that this is how it's going to be.
I disagree, and here's why.
Okay.
Because I don't like in marital counseling or any kind of couple situation where it's black or white. You've presented a problem, and because you're in disagreement about this problem, your options are burn the house down or live with this and never address it again. And I don't agree. I believe that you're allowed to be habitually, routinely upset at this person's behavior, and they may continue to do that, and they may be completely unapologetic, defiant, and insistent on it. And in that juxtaposition, you're right. It could turn into the nuclear option of you have to break up over this. I'm not ruling it out. Mm-hmm. But like as a therapist, I want to offer more than just break up. Like I want to be able to come in and say, one skill that you could do is sitting her down and revealing your emotions about it. Because I think a lot of times as a man writer, we tend to just show anger in the moment or irritation, and that doesn't always compute well. I think when women behold masculine anger, they naturally have a revulsion to it, and they tend to become defensive and closed off, and they tend to just defend themselves. And that might be what you're experiencing, is whenever you bring this to her, she's just defending herself. Whereas in reality, if you brought to her your emotions during a quieter time of, it hurt my feelings. I am so proud of you. You are an attractive, intelligent, wonderful woman, and when I bring you to social settings with my family, I'm excited to show you off because I'm proud of you, but I was embarrassed of you that night, and that hurt my feelings because I never want to be embarrassed of a woman I love. You plant that on a woman, she'll be like, oh my God.
Are we still role-playing?
Yeah, oh. yeah. Nick, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed when you don't wear shirts whenever we go into restaurants. Carrabba's is a nice place. And you never wear a shirt. You only wear a bow tie and cufflinks. And I just feel that you need to start wearing shirts. I was embarrassed.
Fair enough. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree with everything that you've said as far as being able to have that discussion openly and honestly. But I mean, we also don't. Yeah, we don't know how long they've been together, do we?
No.
I mean, if they're in their first year, then I think this is something that.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah,
could be their first date. See, and women love to hear that on the first date. Tell them that they didn't dress nice.
Right. Yeah.
That's when you want to set that standard early. That I have high expectations. I want prom dress every night.
This is what a relationship with me is going to look like.
If you're going to be with this guy.
If I wanted to date a hobo, I would have kept dating that hobo.
I'll take you back to the Salvation Army where I found you. All right. Well, Ryder, thank you so much. Good luck on this. And in the spirit of continuing with no commercial breaks, here is our next letter. This is a good one. My girlfriend just got a dog without really consulting me. We've got a lot of relationship ones. We've been dating for nearly a year. She lives in her own apartment with a roommate, and I live by myself. I'm over there a lot to sleep over. We both have cats. Recently, she's been complaining about not having a lot of money. A month ago, she and her roommate randomly decided to buy a bearded dragon. I said that probably wasn't the best idea because they both don't have much money. She said that she understood, but they really wanted it, so I decided, fuck it. But then yesterday, she told me she was really interested in this dog at a local animal shelter. I, again, expressed my disapproval, and I said she doesn't have much money and that dogs are much more of a time constraint than cats. Our cats are very low maintenance, but dogs require a lot more responsibility, in my opinion. She said she was only looking at the dog, not going to buy it, and we got into a fight because she said it seemed like I didn't trust her to make her own decisions. We talked more, and I said I hated being the dad in the situation because I would love to get a dog, but it's just not a good idea. Long story short, I went out with some friends an hour later, and she did end up getting a dog. The dog is currently sleeping in between us in the bed, and I'm not a huge fan. I just don't really know what to say in the situation. We got into a fight when I got home last night because it just felt like she didn't really care about what I wanted and just went ahead and got the dog anyway. We're planning to live together in the next couple of years, and this feels like a decision we should have made together. Can someone give me some advice on what you think I should say when we discuss this later? I'm incredibly anxious about it. That's a good one.
If my wife came home with a new pet,
Yeah.
I would be furious.
Yeah.
I would be livid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, this is not going to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
This dog is going to be dinner tonight.
Like,
Not going to happen.
it would go back.
Yeah. That's just not. But if she said, well, you don't trust me to make my own decisions,
No.
like.
Fine. Fine. You
Yeah.
want to go tear yourself apart and look at the animal shelter and look at animals that you want to take home, that I know you want to take home? Fine.
Yeah.
Knock yourself out.
Yeah.
If one of them shows up at the house, it's going back to the animal shelter.
No,
This
I
is
will
not
be a
happening.
heartless bastard.
my ex-wife did this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She brought
That's
home
why-
a dog?
That's
Yeah.
why you got divorced.
End of advice.
Actually,
and this
I don't-
again is Jason.
actually,
This is
I-
right where I play
No,
that jingle.
I'm not
This is
even
funny.
saying that like as a joke.
No, but here's what's funny, Jacob. I still have the dog.
Well, the dog was great.
The
Don't
dog's
get me wrong.
great.
But Justin, this is why we need that jingle, because that's where we're going to play it.
It's not the dog's
Right
fault
there.
that she brought it
And
home.
it needs to be
Yeah.
short. The jingle needs to be this quick punch, because that's how Jacob's advice is.
Okay, but now in my situation, we had lost a dog. Our dog died, and so this is like 4 months later.
Okay.
We had talked about getting another dog.
Yeah.
She brought home this dog because it was a puppy that a friend had that they needed to get rid of,
Yes.
with the idea that if I didn't like the dog, we would take it back.
Oh,
so it
that
wasn't
never
something.
works.
It wasn't 100%
Oh,
like
yeah.
she came home, purchased the dog, all that stuff. But here's the thing. What's your take on this? Because I'm thinking maybe this isn't about the dog. This whole relationship thing.
Yeah.
It's not about the dog.
In this person's case?
Right.
Okay.
It's not. This is just relationship issues that they're having.
Oh, you think
as
there's
far
a
as-
bigger issue here, Nick? That's your professional opinion on this? That the dog
That maybe
is
the dog's not the
100% of problem?
You see, Jacob, this is where a master's degree
Oh,
comes into play.
yeah. Yeah, please.
'Cause,
Please tell us all about
Yeah, this is a little extra training that I
Caesar
took.
Milan over
Yeah.
here.
it. So, what do you think's the bigger issue?
Yeah, they just don't. I think there's some control issues.
I think there is,
I think
too.
she wants. I think she's very independent. She seems.
Yeah.
She seems like she's independent. She wants to make her own decisions. He is. He's not. I don't know if he's controlling or has control issues. But
I think he does.
definitely. He definitely. I think ultimately what it is. I can't say control issues, but I can say. I think he has a long-term focus,
Mm-hmm.
and he's looking at how all of these decisions are going to affect him
Yes.
sooner or later.
Yeah, the part of the letter that kind of irked me is when he said, we're planning on moving in together in the next couple of years.
Right.
And so the dog thing should have been a mutual decision. No.
Right.
That's not how that works.
Yeah.
No. Like, her decisions right now, if she decides to go out right now and get a credit card, and that affects her credit score, which could affect her co-signing the lease with you in a couple years, that's not relevant.
Yes.
Not right now. That's not your business. So I think that first step is what you're talking about, Nick, which is not having a long-term mentality in what is right now a short-term space.
Yeah. Well, and it definitely seemed... And now, she also had that same mentality. If she also had that same long-term mentality, I don't think there would be an issue. I think there would be more communication, because then she would see how the decisions she's making today are affecting him or will be affecting him in the future. They would probably be talking about that. But the fact that he's concerned about it and she is not concerned about that makes me think that they are just at two different spots when it comes to this relationship. He's thinking way long term, and she's thinking very short term. This is the guy I'm dating now, and not thinking much beyond that.
Yes, and I still think the point is valid that in a relationship, the way he describes this, she lives with somebody else, he lives on his own, they stay together a lot, they have cats, she got a dog, she also got a bearded dragon with a friend. Okay, is she a little bit impulsive? Yeah. Are you allowed to be annoyed by that? Yeah. Is that allowed to be a red flag for you about taking the relationship into deeper levels? Sure.
Yeah.
Fair. And if you feel like you're the mature one and you're the one thinking this out and your partner doesn't, I think you're allowed to be annoyed, and I think you're allowed to be concerned. And I'll share your concern, and I'll say, hey, I'm glad you caught this early. You better start. And you know, I get that you're exhausted. You're tired of feeling like you're condescending her and trying to lecture her, and I'm sure she's sick of it too. And so then you have to fall back to, where's our relationship currently at? Mm-hmm. I'm just your boyfriend. I don't live with you. I've got to give you permission to do this, or I'm going to rip us apart, right? Because I'm going to be so angry, and I'm going to, blast you all the time. It's going to be a problem, and I'm going to resent you. Having said all that, I definitely am the guy who brought home a dog without asking my wife first. My pumpkin chihuahua.
Wow.
Yep. I did that. So
of course you did.
I did it. Yep. I just decided our kid needs a dog, and I went to an animal shelter one day and fell in love with this chihuahua. And it was like, well, I didn't intend to get a dog today, but I did the whole stupid thing like Jacob said, like if you're dumb enough to go to the shelter, you're going to see something you like. Don't do it. And I did it, and there was a baby puppy there that just got in my lap and would not get out, and I was like, and we're done. You're coming home with me now. So came home, and hi, we have a dog now. My wife was like, what have you done? And I was like, every little boy should have a dog, and we have a dog now, and
she said, you are that little boy.
She said, you are the little boy. This dog is for you. So dog's still with us.
Wow.
We are still married, but yeah, but she was pretty upset.
It's really amazing that as a therapist, all the mistakes that you make in your own relationship.
Yeah. That's what qualifies me, Nick.
Jesus.
People are like, Jim, how do you know that won't work? Oh, I didn't learn that from the book learning. No. I did that. You shouldn't do that because Jim's done that. That's what I'm really here to do.
PhD from the School of Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks, bitches. So, yeah, I definitely did the buy a dog thing. So I agree with the writer. I get it. Like, that is frustrating and annoying, and I agree with Jacob. Like, if you live together and somebody does something like that, that is awfully presumptuous. And I'm sure that's how you felt whenever she randomly came home with a dog. But I don't know. I think that the circumstances that the writer's in, I don't feel you have the leverage or the situation to be outraged. I just feel that you need to check in with your situation more than what the bonding feels like, because you feel so connected to this girl that you feel like you should have had a vote. And I think what she's teaching you is you don't. And when somebody tells you something like this with their actions, you can choose to resent it and be bitter about it, or you can choose to accept what they're teaching you. And I think that she's teaching you don't have the right to tell her what to do about this. Learn your role. Step back. And I think you'll have more peace, writer, if you do. Mm-hmm. And in a couple of years, when it's time to get a house or an apartment together and you guys have 4 cats, a bearded dragon, and a dog, you can reevaluate. And if you need to, some things are going to go to the shelter, and that'll be her hard knock lesson where she has to say, darn, I shouldn't have accumulated a zoo if I want to live in a place, and let her live in that tension when it comes. But you can't, condescend to her and be the dad. I don't think that works.
Yep.
Being the condescending, person in a relationship never bodes well for you. So
is that also a personal experience?
Yes.
Excellent.
That is also.
All right. Well, that was our bank episode. Thank you, everybody, for listening and paying attention. Announcements, we don't have any because we don't really know. Apologies, I'm sure we've got those, but we'll
I'm
have to
sure
save
there's
those
lots
later.
I'll need to apologize for.
We probably have some new THERAPALs, THERAPODs, THERADACTYLs, and if we do, welcome, and we'll catch you when we are live again.
Yep.
And
But we could probably still thank our TheraProducers.
I suppose we should. We especially want to thank our bosses, the Elite Eight and Mysterious and Shrouded Illuminati members of our fan clubs, the TheraProducers. Thank you, Smitty Scoop, Jake Schneider, Robert Brownie Jr. Ment, Chairman of the Board, Kayla Lansbury, David Data Scoop Vialon, Judy Schneider, Nathan's Hot Dog Scoop, Dr. Ben Don, and ex officio board member Ellie O'Dare.
If you would like to hear this episode uncut and unedited, you can hear Nick and I's entire fight. I think it was about the movie Contact, or was it about Cosmos?
It started that way, and then it went into Cosmos, and that's where...
I don't think Contact is on the Patreon. I think that's us just complaining.
Yeah.
And then I think by the time we pivoted to Cosmos, that's on the Patreon.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
I don't remember what's on there.
That's where shit got personal.
That's when it got very real.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to hear all that fun stuff, you can go to patreon.com/therapy and sign up for as little as $1. And thank you all for supporting mental health. That's all the time that we got for this week's session. We want to thank our landlords, the Ice Cream Social Podcast. And thanks to those of you who contributed to our show today. We really appreciate it. Remember, pod therapy isn't something you should keep all to yourself. Share this episode with someone who needs it by opening this episode's description in your podcast app and copying and pasting the link provided into your social media. Don't forget, you can find us at facebook.com/podtherapy, on Twitter at PodTherapyGuys, and now at patreon.com/therapy.
Do you want to submit a question to the show? Ask anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. I'm Nick Tangeman. That's Jim Jobin. Thanks, and we'll see you for your appointment next week.
Ba-doom, boom, boom, boom. Da-doom, doom, boom, boom, doom, boom, doom, boom. Doom, ba-doom, ba-doom, doom, 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 boom, doom, boom, boom.
And fade out.
Ba-doom, boom, boom, boom. Doom, doom, boom, doom, boom, boom. Doom, doom, boom.
I said I was going to make that my ringtone.
Please loop that and just have an